Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into something that's really complex and honestly pretty misunderstood, the role of meat in Hinduism. It's one of those topics where what we think we know and what the reality is don't always match up.
So, let's just kick things off with what seems like a simple question. Are all Hindus vegetarian? You probably have an answer in your head already, but the truth? Well, it's way more surprising, and it tells a huge story about culture, history, and identity in India.
Okay, get this. According to some solid data from the Pew Research Center, a majority of Hindus in India, we're talking 56%, are actually non-vegetarians. And that even includes 45% of Brahmins, the very community most people associate with strict vegetarianism. So right off the bat, this one number just completely shatters the myth of a single vegetarian Hindu identity.
So, if most Hindus do eat meat, then where does this whole idea of a pure vegetarian Hinduism even come from? And why has beef, of all things, become such an incredibly charged and political third rail?
To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to go way back. This isn't a simple story with a simple answer. Nope. It's woven through thousands of years of ancient texts, huge social shifts, and a lot of modern politics.
All right, let's get into it. The best place to start is with the foundational texts of Hinduism themselves. What do they actually say about eating meat? You might be surprised to find out just how contradictory the evidence really is.
So you've got the epic Mahabharata, and in it, the great elder Bhishma puts it pretty bluntly. He praises non-violence, or ahimsa, as the supreme virtue, and says that not eating meat is a direct ticket to heaven. Seems pretty clear-cut, right? Case closed.
But hold on. In the exact same conversation, Bhishma turns around and says that meat sanctified by ritual is totally pure and okay to eat. So in one breath, he's all for total abstinence, and in the next, he's laying out the rulebook for when it's allowed. It's a fascinating contradiction all in one place.
And this isn't just a one-off thing. It's everywhere once you start looking. Other major texts like the Manusmriti, they allow for consecrated meat. The Vyasamhita actually prescribes it for Brahmins during certain ceremonies. And think about the great epics. We see heroes, even gods, eating meat. The Ramana talks about Ram and Lakshman hunting. And in the Mahabharata, the Pandavas apparently ate so much deer meat that the animals started getting scarce.
So this begs a huge question, right? If meat eating wasn't just common, but was also written about in the scriptures, what happened? What caused this massive cultural pivot towards vegetarianism as the ideal?
Well, the big turning point seems to be around the 5th century BC, with the rise of two new major movements, Jainism and Buddhism. Both of them really put the idea of ahimsa, or nonviolence, front and center. And as they got more popular, a lot of upper caste Hindus, especially Brahmins and wealthy merchants, saw a way to kind of compete and keep their social standing. They started adopting vegetarianism as a direct response.
And you've got to understand, this wasn't just some philosophical shift. It was a social strategy. It was a power move. By adopting a vegetarian diet, upper caste could claim the moral high ground, this position of purity. It also acted as a status symbol, because let's face it, only the wealthy could really afford a nutritious all-plant diet all year round.
And this move, it had massive, long-lasting consequences. It created this deep-rooted link between what you ate and where you stood in the caste system, a connection that is absolutely still with us today.
And nobody put this more brilliantly than Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, one of the main architects of India's constitution. He just nailed it. He saw how food, especially avoiding meat and beef, became a sharp dividing line. It wasn't just about diet, it became a powerful tool for social exclusion.
And you can literally see that historical divide in the numbers today. Government surveys consistently show that non-vegetarianism is way higher among communities that were historically lower on the caste ladder. Groups we now call other backward classes, scheduled castes, and scheduled tribes. It's about 60% for them versus 47% in the so-called general or upper caste category.
And here's the real kicker. When you zoom in on just the Hindus who do eat beef, a whopping 70% come from scheduled caste or scheduled tribe communities. That line Dr. Ambedkar talked about, it's still crystal clear in the data.
Now, don't think for a second that this is all just ancient history. This long, complicated story of food and caste is being actively and very strategically used as a powerful tool in modern Indian politics. Right now, you see this really fascinating and kind of cynical double standard at play. In the Hindi-speaking heartland of North India, the idea of the sacred cow is a huge tool for polarizing voters. But head down to a state like Kerala or over to the Northeast, where lots of people eat beef, and suddenly the very same political party might be promising to ensure good quality beef, or just not mentioning it at all.
And it's not just politics, it's also just about where you live. Geography is a huge factor. In landlocked northern states like Rajasthan and Haryana, vegetarianism is super high. Makes sense. But then you go to coastal states like West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala, where fish is everywhere and affordable, and the vegetarian population just plummets to single digits.
So when you put all these pieces together, the texts, the history, the politics, the geography, a picture starts to emerge. It becomes pretty clear that being a vegetarian in India is less about one single religious rule and way more about a mix of your family's culture, where you grew up, and your social and economic background. And I want to be really clear here. The philosophy of nonviolence is incredibly powerful, and there are so many excellent, conscious reasons why someone would choose a vegetarian diet today. Ethical reasons, environmental reasons, health reasons, the list goes on.
So the problem has never, ever been about the choice itself. The problem starts when that personal choice gets twisted, when it's weaponized and used as a club to claim you're morally better than someone else, and to enforce a rigid and, frankly, discriminatory social order. So I guess that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When we look at all the fierce debate over diet in India, is it really about what's on the plate? Or is it about who we use food to include and who we use it to exclude? It's about power, it's about identity, and it's about the lines we draw between us.